Welcome back. This is match 2. We lost round 1 to a blue-red wizard deck in a decently close match. Let's see what round 2 has for us. It's a pretty good hand. It's got a turn 1 interaction and a turn 2 Tarmogoyf. Opponent mulligans to 5 and plays 1 on the bottom. Okay, they are classic Affinity. This is always how it works out. You build a deck to be control decks and you face aggro 2 rounds in a row. That's the wonderful thing about Modern, of how diverse it is. Fortunately, I don't have a fetch land, so might be a little bit before Tarmogoyf gets large. Oh, luckily my opponent helped me out with that. Normally I don't fetch shock against aggro, but my opponent's hand is so poor I just want to run at them hard with a large Tarmogoyf. Okay, and 7 damage clock will kick in quite hard right there. Post board, we have to worry about Etch Champion, which is certainly a threat. Cards we have that are good. Languish, Kalitas is alright. We have Damnation to deal with different things like that. Cast Down and Bitterblossom are all okay. I also like some number of Fulminator Mage since it can beat Inkmoth. What's bad in this matchup? Primarily Liliana the Veil. I'm not the biggest Tasigur fan in this style matchup, but it's not bad. Traverse is not going to generally win me this game. This is not a Traverse deck. What Traverse's primary function here is to smooth out my draws and help me in a longer game, which is the role of Traverse in this deck is very, very different than the role of Traverse in Abzan Traverse. In this, it's supposed to help me smooth out my early draws and then be a nice Snapcaster target for later. That is what Traverse is for in this deck. It's an extra land threat hybrid. Collective Brutality is also under consideration of just not being good enough, especially on the draw. But I'm hesitant to take out all my discard, especially on the draw. I think on the play, it's a possibility, but on the draw, I really want to have some ways of interacting with them, even at the expense of my own life totals. I do like always keeping in one number of Liliana the Veil, maybe just because she's my favorite card, but also because she'll just win you games out of nowhere. I'm not sure how I feel about Bitterblossom in this matchup. I think it's pretty good if they have a little bit slower of a hand, otherwise it's kind of garbage. Keeping 1 Thoughtseize, some board wipes. Curve's a little higher than I would like, but Noble Hierarch's goal and entire job is to help counteract that. That's why I run the full 4. This says I've turn 1 push, turn 2 Bitterblossom. We can see how Bitterblossom does in this match. In theory, it should be pretty good, providing a good stream of 1/1 blockers to protect me against an Inkmoth win. But I've never actually seen... I've run Bitterblossom against Affinity before, quite a few times. I've never actually been able to play it turn 2, either because I've never drawn it, or because actually one time it was spell pierced. Okay. Hold it. I mean, my opponent should attack before maybe dropping a Steel Overseer, but you never know. Maybe they don't. I'm curving well with lands. I can drop a Fulminator next turn, or a Tracker, and then curve that into a Kalitas, which should be pretty neat, pretty powerful here, while I have a shield of Bitterblossom tokens to protect me. I think I'm in a pretty good spot here. Sure. My opponent has 1 card in hand. I think I would rather actually shock and drop something, either the Tracker or the Fulminator, as opposed to checking out their hand. So next turn I will play a Breeding Pool into a Kalitas and be a little bit safer against their aggro attack. Right now I do have a chump blocker to hit their threats. They're going to gain some life, that's not a problem. So if my opponent does that again, 2/4 damage, I'll be at 7. I still think it's the right play to drop Kalitas, and then follow that up with a Fulminator. As long as I fade a Ravager, Cranial Plating, that's probably about it. Ravager, Cranial Plating, I think I'm alright. So this is 7, I'll be at 2 life. It's not great, but I will be gaining a little bit of life in the kickback. Maelstrom Pulse is a nice draw. So I got up to 4 life. I'll be at 3 life after the Bitterblossom. 1, 2, I'll be dead if I cast the Maelstrom Pulse. Scavenging Ooze can gain me 1 life. It's not enough. My fairy will have to block. Then next turn, my play is the Fulminator. And or eat the zombie with Kalitas and gain a little bit more life. Bitterblossom's been pretty good in this matchup. Still might kill me. Ceremonious Rejection is a card that I could have in my sideboard. I've chosen not to, primarily because I preferred Countersquall and Disdainful Stroke in most matchups that I would bring Ceremonious Rejection in, which includes KCI and Tron. This matchup and Hardened Scales Affinity are the matchups where I'd actually want Ceremonious Rejection over one of those two. So I'm going to go to 7 Infect. I think that is the correct approach, as long as I stay at a healthy life total, which is above 0. Okay, so Fulminator Mage is very good against Inkmoth Nexus. I was very patient, had to avoid a cranial plating, and if that was the case, the Bitterblossom tokens could block pretty well for me. I was pretty aggressive with my life total, choosing not to chump block with anything other than the fairies. I could have chump blocked with a tracker or maybe even Kalitas, and I chose not to do that. Kalitas gaining me 6 life this match also won me the match because that's the life total that I ended at. But right now I am 1-1. I lost a close one to Blue Red Wizards, and I just beat Affinity 2-0. I'll see you on round 3.